CK, peace, man. Yeah. All right, so I'm gonna review Captain's debate with GCon. Well, I already been reviewing it so far. I think think I'm into Captain's rebuttal, or this might be his open argument. I forgot. I'm like very early into it. I watched it before. I watched a lot of these stuff, but I don't sit down with the pen and paper. Now I've been sitting down with the pen and paper, writing down Captain arguments as answers to similar questions that I would propose that he already gave. But people like G Con and other Stacy, whoever else. All right, so not gonna be on long. I think I got 44%. I got other ones with larger percentages, but sorry, late 7 o'clock. I was trying to get on by 10, but whatever. Of course, it all. My son ain't fall asleep to 10:40, 10:40, something like that. So it's hard to get on live if he's up. All right, let me let me let me connect let me Bluetooth my keyboard to this iPad so typing could be done. Could be typing. All right. Then automatically connect, so I gotta connect it. Keyboard not connecting. Okay, that's gonna be an issue. Okay, so the keyboard needs to be charged. Oh, what's that? Know that in advance. All right, so that's gonna slow. Okay, so that means I got to get right to the video. I was gonna show y'all what I'm doing. I'm studying, but since the keyboard can't connect, that stops inside of how I'm studying this. It stops that. Okay, so I doubt I can do it with this. Let me try it fast. Yeah. Bluetooth keyboard for sure. Yeah, keyboard ain't popping up. Virtual keyboard ain't popping up. Let's scrap that. To the video. Please, Tone. Oh, so real fast, Tone. Let me explain what the dude asked. There's always some non-Bible reading guy who asked these dumb questions. I already knew what he was going to ask before he even asked it. Everybody on the panel were confused. All the Christians were confused. Okay, so let me go in. So Genesis chapter 1, it gives you a brief rundown on what was created during the 6 day creation period. Animals, the plants first, the animals, humans, right? Before them, the stars, the firmament, the waters, that type of stuff, right? Okay, so when you go to Genesis chapter 2, this is not a second creation story. They're getting more deep, more specific. All right, that's all. So it's like they're delving into it more deeper. That's why I just focus on Adam and Eve, right, as the first people, whatever. But that's the theme throughout the Bible. throughout the Bible, okay. So the spotlight is only who the Bible is addressing. It's going to be certain people, but everybody else will not be addressed. But that does not mean they don't exist. So, for example, let's take it to something simple. Let's go to Moses and the Egyptians. So now, when uh, Moses was adopted by Pharaoh's daughter, does that mean the Philistines weren't around anymore because they were not mentioned? The Syrians, the Babylonians. Does that mean that they didn't exist? That they were not mentioned, not one time. So Genesis chapter 2, God out of mankind He created, He wanted to focus on Adam and Eve, which was the first two, of course, but He wanted to focus on them. They were the chosen over everybody else created, and they were created first. But even still, like they were the focal point. Just because you're born first or created first doesn't automatically mean you're going to have the spotlight on you. We know that and Abel, everybody, Esau, Jacob, everybody else. But even with 12 tribes of Israel. Anyway, so Tone, that's it. So most non-Bible readers they miss that, and they think it's too crazy. So they think it's a contradiction. I already knew where he's going before he asked it, and that's why it's not really good for people who don't really study the Bible, especially like people who don't even subscribe to it, like the Canadians, the Kemetic Egyptian guys, atheists, people like that. Is Muslims not really good because they're not going to put the same effort in researching the Bible like a person who believes in the Bible. Okay, because these guys looking to poke holes. Same thing if you read the Quran and you're not Muslim. You might miss something that an average Muslim is not going to miss because you're looking for something to benefit Christianity or atheism, and you're looking to debunk Islam. So that's why it's a lot harder to do that. And you're going to make fundamental mistakes. Somebody trying to debunk Egypt, reading those things, the glyphs, or just books, they're going to make a mistake. So you got to almost get into the religion yourself. That's why, like some of the best or the hardest challenges for religion are the ex-members because they really try to read it for what it's worth. They didn't go in trying to contradict it. So once the guy that was making a point, he didn't even know what point he was making. I don't have my Bible. It's like, dude, why even ask a question if you're not ready? But if he had his Bible, he still wouldn't have known his point. All right, so nah, there's no second creation story at all. Like he didn't create them separately. Like they were created on the sixth day, like everybody else. They were just created first on the sixth day. They were created first, but like I said, it's always going to be people who it's called God's elect, right? He's going to always elect somebody. So he elected Adam and Eve over the creation, whoever else he created in the beginning. Okay, so that's my understanding of it, right? I don't even know like the commentary from scholars, what they say. I don't even know. That just made the most sense to me. It's not a second creation story, but because he said he was finished with creation during the sixth day, right? So if he rests on the seventh and then they start creating more, then that will be a problem. Yeah, but if you actually just read Genesis 2, because I remember me and my uncle, we were reading Genesis 2 and we thought it was a contradiction. And we were like waiting to debate a Christian, like just like 20 years ago. And then I kept reading and reading and reading. I'm like, wait a minute. This ain't a second Christian. This is getting more in depth. So me and my uncle had like an argument. And my uncle, because at that time I was a Hebrew Israelite, so I was like influenced. But I never joined the camp, but I was influenced by One West. So I had their influence. So me and my uncle was like kind of like Nation of Islam, Nation God's Earth, 5% type of guy, mixed with Dr. Malachi York type of guy. So he was never really a big Bible guy, but he grew up in, my grandfather, his father was a pastor, been in the church, but he's like woke, he thinks he's woke. So when he was reading that, because of contradiction, he decided to use it against me, not knowing that I read it over and studied it better. I'm like, wait a minute, this is not a second creation story. So when he tried to ambush scholarship me, people like to just ambush you. Hey, what about this? Hey, your Bible got a contradiction. He didn't know that I did a follow up on that because we didn't have time. We didn't see each other because I would have been giving game. He might have rejected it, but I would have given him game. Like, yo, this ain't that. So he thought he was gonna ambush scholarship me, and lo and behold, that was his worst nightmare. I was prepared. So that's the thing with people. Like people want to catch me off guard. People want to make me wrong so bad. They don't want to see it prepared unbiased sports. They want to catch me off guard. But I'm telling you, like my study habits, no matter what I'm looking into, like I become obsessed and studying, learning what I'm currently into. So with that type of obsession and dedication and discipline, it's going to be kind of hard to catch me slipping because I'm going to want to know it all, and I'm going to want to know. I'm going to want to debate. Like even when I was in the Nation of Islam, like I still know their doctrine probably better than most Nation of Islam members. Like there's a few OG people that probably got me, but I haven't looked at this material in years, and I guarantee you, I still could beat in a debate maybe 80% of the members because all the time and research I put in. They can't really ask me questions I don't know, but I can ask them questions that they probably not gonna know. And secondly, they can't even lie to me and say something's there because I pretty much went over like damn near every video, not all of them, but a large percentage of videos that they have for their doctrine. I read a lot of their books and articles, and so it's kind of even hard for them to lie and say, "Hey, this is in this article in 1940." It's kind of like hard to do that. And at the very least, I'm gonna say source up. Hey, man, go get that knowledge voice. All right. So anyway, let me not be laboring anymore. Let me go right to Captain. So I'm not ready to see the chat for a while, but still comment because I'm gonna pause and peek. All right. So let me go to Captain. So I also been making clips of Captain's like mess ups. I went over um, Ariela's arguments yesterday against Yerman Yahoo on the can Gentiles be saved. Yerman Yahoo has like a weird position, like he almost like on some GOCC type position. Should have asked him what he's GOCC, and of course he was trying to like ignore me as I was like addressing him. Like, yo, pull up, yo. He didn't really put me in mind. He didn't acknowledge me at all. But he believes like those Gentiles are Gentiles, but their salvation is different from like how Christians say salvation. He believes their salvation is like a second class citizenship. They'll be in a kingdom saved from this world, but serving Israel. You know, like a chattel slave, I guess, something like that. Or indentured servant. Let me get on and out of here. All right, come on. I got 41%. Here we go. I'm in my playlist. And here I found it. Yeah, so y'all gonna see commercials for the first time. Cause I stopped paying my subscription, a monthly subscription for YouTube Premium. So you're definitely gonna see some commercials. I had to redirect that money somewhere else. Money getting tight. It's been tight. It's getting tighter. All right, so I got to buy a new battery for my car. Oh, God. So make that and share.
The NSA hired an MIT and Berkeley University PhD mathematician to help
Israelites pertain that adoption, not other nations. It says the glory that he was talking about supposed to go to everybody. Israelites pertain that glory. The covenants, old and new, that goes to the Israelites. The giving of the law goes to the Israelites. Even the services of the Most High
So right now,
goes to the Israelites.
Ranting, making a whole bunch of claims. I'm not really paying attention.
To even have a non-Israelite reading the Bible is against God, because that service only goes to the Israelites. This is the New Testament I'm reading. And most importantly, the promises. The promise don't go to other nations. So when Solomon made that decree, Solomon made a decree in 2 Kings, the 8th chapter, when he said, if an Israelite is not in Israel, if he prays facing Jerusalem, the Lord will hear his prayers. Not to a stranger. I'm gonna keep going. So now, Hebrews 9 and 15.
And most of the references this is support this whole Gentiles can't get salvation natural. Unfortunately, you got to say natural Gentiles, because they will say, yeah, that's a Gentile, all right, but that's Israel. Okay, so a natural Gentile, they don't believe get salvation.
This is a question I pray G-Con can answer. In Hebrews 9 and 15, it says, for this cause, he is the mediator of the New Testament. Let's talk about Yahweh Shah. He's the mediator of the New Testament. That by means of death, for the redemption of the transgressions that were under the first testament, they which are called might receive the promise of eternal inheritance. Now we know the Israelites was under the first testament. So if this is saying Christ is that mediator, it's only for those under the first testament. This is very, 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 very basic. When you go to Ezekiel, remember I told y'all when you...
Yeah, but all didn't qualify for that, because Israel kept turning, even as a whole, as a collective, Israel kept turning to false gods. So, of course, like our constitutional laws, the Most High started to make amendments.
Nations plural. It's not talking about, it's only for those under the first testament. This is very, 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 very basic. When you go to Ezekiel, remember I told y'all, when you see nations plural, it's not talking about other nations, it's talking about Israelites too.
Okay, so now this point about to make, I think where he's going is about to be goofy. So he said nations plural. I mean, he didn't make sense right there. So I don't even know where he's going with that.
In Ezekiel 37 and 20, I'm trying to...
Okay, so he's going to try to... See, now here's the thing with this argument. Matter of fact, let him make it first.
Right? I'm going to read Ezekiel 37 and 16. Moreover, the Son of Man, take thee one stick and write upon it for Judah and the children of Israel, his companions. Then take the stick and write upon it for Joseph, the stick of Ephraim, for the house of Israel and all his companions. Why are they even separated? Because we were broke off from being joined to each other. And I want
you definitely yeah, that's what Romans 11 talks about. It definitely talks about but it's not like one, it's not like Ephraim or northern Judah was broken off and southern Israel or Judah were saved. No. The broken branch that Romans 11 speak about are Israel combined. It's just the wicked of Israel, the blinded of Israel is going to be broken off. They are wrapped up in one. He's trying their argument, they try to make a separation Ariela was a worse argument because he's trying to agree with me. Like, no, it's a mixture. But most of them are Northern Israel. But it's a mixture. It's like, dude, what are you talking about? It's a mixture, but most of them are Northern Israel. See, and that's the way to save himself. That's his anchor.
Get y'all the verse. I'm sorry. Now, when you drop down to verse 22, it says, I will make them one nation in the land upon the mountains of Israel, and one king shall be king to them all, and they shall be no more two nations.
All right. So these two nations got a name, though, Cat. Like, never in the Bible that I came across where Israel and the HOI and the HOJ, the house of Judah and the house of Israel, were referred to just as nations or Gentiles or heathen. Never. Like, they're always acknowledged as their proper godly divine title. Like, they're always known as either Ephraim, Northern Kingdom, Southern Kingdom, Judah, or that's it for the most part. Like, they're not ever known as like just nations, like just a blanket nations. Nah. So when you hear nations, like if you want to throw Israel in there, go ahead. But the nations include Gentile nations. I mean, for the most part, nations. When you read nations, for the most part, they're, if not entirely exclusive to natural Gentiles, but at the very least, it's definitely inclusive to natural Gentiles. So if you want to say nations are inclusive to Israel, fine. That still works for us because your argument has to be that nations, and the way you want to use it, doesn't include heathens or Gentiles because we win. Because we're not trying to kick Israel out of coming back. Like the ones that were broken off, we're not trying to stop them from coming back. No. We're saying that they're, at the very least, if you guys are right, we're saying that they're lumped in with the natural Gentiles. So the Israel who fell off and couldn't worship the Most High and stay away from idols, we're saying that if they are who you say they are, then they're lumped up in with the other Gentiles, the natural Gentiles, which means we still win. Because if it says the Gentiles get salvation, you're trying to throw Israel in there. And I'm saying fine. But the other nations are still there and they get salvation. Now, Captain just said nations represents Israel. I mean, I don't know how that, just because it's all of Israel. I'm going to use all of Israel. You can't even say the house of Israel because then they'll say that's northern. So I'm going to say, or you can say the children of Israel. There we go. The children of Israel. Okay. Got my point. But I don't know. So if you're trying to break them up to two nations, I mean, fine. But they're really two kingdoms. But okay, two nations. Okay. But they're not nations exclusively from the rest of the nations, the rest of the Gentile nations.
That's just one example showing you when you see nations plural, Israelites were split into more than one nation.
That's not how that works either. Because if nations equals Israel only, right, northern and southern, then you won't. It will definitely not say nation. It will say, like it's been saying, house of Judah, house of Israel. If you talk about big cats, right, where there's more than two, definitely 7 big cats, then you'll say big cats. But if it's like specifically tigers and lions, you're not going to say big cats. You're going to say tigers and lions. When it's only 2, you're going to address them by name: peanut butter and jelly, the big crackers and peanut butter, crackers and cheese. Like that's how you're going to, describe them. The 2 they are. It's only when it becomes several. You don't want to say lions and tigers and bears. Oh my! You just want to say wild animals or big man-eating animals or big cats, stuff like that. You'll do that. You use that terminology. But if it's only 2, now you are definitely going to name the 2. So Captain trying to make a new definition for nations is hilarious. And you notice that he loves to define words he feel like benefits him. Why not go to your Zondervan and look up nations? Let's see what we get, Captain. But don't worry, we got Zondervan, and we did that. So we got screenshots.
I just read it for you right here. So that kills the whole nation concept that he would want to bring you. I'm going to give you some more. Gentile, for example, or stranger, for example, is not something that's just confined. First of all, a Gentile and stranger is not a race of people.
Okay, so now I got to clip that. I got to clip that. So this is something I'm going to clip. First of all, stop using stranger and Gentile like those two words are interchangeable. They're not. They're not. They're definitely not. Stranger is used more loosely in the Bible. Gentile is not. It's more used. It's more tight when it's used. The stranger, that's literally like it's used loose. Almost anybody can be a stranger, but not almost anybody can be a Gentile. So you can't use those two words interchangeably. But I'm going to clip this right here because he's going to contradict what he just said about the two nations were House of Judah, House of Israel. Watch this.
You're not going to go, or
I'm going to clip this right here.
Gentiles could be said, stranger, for example, is not something that's just confined. First of all, a Gentile and stranger is not a race of people. You're not going to go into the Bible and see a man named Gentile who had a son. A stranger is not a race of people. You're not going to go into the Bible and see a man named Gentile.
Now, this is going to be his own undoing. You're not going to see a man named Gentile
who had a son, who had a son, who had a son. So when you say these are Gentiles, that's a race of people.
So keep in mind, Gentiles are not a race of people. You just heard them. Gentiles are not a race of people.
Gentile is a byword, just like nigga is a byword.
That's false. Gentiles are not a byword. Gentile is a term to, like I said, big cats, man-eating predators. It's like that. You're lumping up a whole bunch of similar things, species. Okay, beings.
Just like spick is a byword. It's something.
Not. So that he made it up too. That's Captain defining things, and that's okay. You want to define it, but he pick and chooses when he want to use scholarship and run off on his own understanding. That's called a double-minded person.
Stranger or heathen. Those are things that we just call people as slang.
Nah, a heathen is exactly what it is according to the Bible, and a Gentile is exactly what it is according to the Bible. Like these are people who are not God-chosen people initially.
Or derogatory or something like that. So when you see Gentile, you have to see the context of the conversation to know if it's an Israelite or non-Israelite. Example, Romans 9 and 24.
That's right now. I just want to see how much I'm going to let go and clip. I might clip some of this.
Romans 9 and 24 says, even us whom he have called, but you know the Lord called somebody, not of the Jews only, but also of the Gentiles. So now we go with the Christian perspective, they're going to close the book. Gentiles could be strangers, not a race of people. You're not going to go into Gentiles. Stranger.
Yeah, I don't know what the F that is, man. It just goes, it's the iPad. I don't know what that is. It just goes away.
Example. Right. That he would want to bring. I'm going to give you some more. Gentile, for example, just read it for you right here. So that kills the whole nation concept. Right. That nation's plural. Israel land upon the mountains of nations plural. Israelites were split into more than one nation. Or stranger, for example, is not some more. Gentile. So now some more. Gentile, for example, or stranger, for example, is not something that's just confined. First of all, a Gentile and stranger is not a race of people. First of all, a Gentile and stranger is not a race of people. You're not going to go into the Bible and see a man named Gentile.
It's always the right side. When I go to bring that in closer, it always does this to me, man. It drops to the bottom. It's weird.
Who had a son, who had a son, who had a son. So when you say these are Gentiles, that's a race of people. Gentile is a byword, just like nigga is a byword.
I don't need all that.
Just like heathen. Those are things. First of all, a Gentile and stranger is not a race of people. You're not just like, first of all, a Gentile and stranger is not a race of people. You're not going to go into the Bible and see a man named Gentile who had a son, who had a son, who had a son. So when you say these are Gentiles, that's a race of people. Gentile is a byword, just like nigga is a byword. Just like, first of all, Gentile and stranger, just like niggas. First of all, Gentile is a byword. First of all, Gentile and stranger is not a.
I got it. So I'm really good with listening to arguments and then bust them down. All right, so Gentile isn't a nation. Okay, so I'm gonna send this copy to Meech and myself because I do so much stuff that sometimes I get lost in my inboxes. So I like to send a copy to somebody else. He might not be as busy as I am in his inbox. Meech wants to open a message. Choice. Okay, so Meech is busy. That's cool. Cause I'm only getting off. I'm not staying long anyway. All right, so now that's out the way. Let me go into let me see. Okay, so yeah, 4233. Let me see.
Listing your house on the market isn't the only way to sell your house. Selling to us is much faster, easier.
Plural. Israelite.
All right, I don't know. So we have 4233. Just want to check out some. Hey, peace out.
Selling to us is much.
Some comments. All right. GLCC believe in a hierarchy for the real Gentiles, aka servants and handmaids. Yeah, that might be their understanding. Okay, so now keep in mind, I just made a clip of Captain saying Gentile doesn't mean a nation. All right, so this gonna hurt right here. Watch this. Gentile does not mean nation. This is why they always duck me. So if you guys are boxing fans, then when I reference this little quote, y'all should know about it. It should be an inside joke. So this is why they're gonna duck me, son. When Keith Thurman told Paulie Malanagi, so you better not duck me, son. So this is why they duck me, son. They duck me because of this type of stuff right here. I'm able to like just outsmart them out with them, and I'm a better researcher. Okay, I have the discipline to like just take it. So whatever the Bible reveals to me, that's just what it is. Like I don't have a doctrine. But I'm like, nah, it don't line up. I gotta figure out how to dismiss that with something with other scriptures because that don't line up what I'm doing. I don't do that. And this is what I was trying to tell other people who are Bible believers that has a doctrine. I don't have a doctrine. I don't have no oneness, no Trinity, none of that stuff. But what I do have is a position. So my position could change based off more, convincing evidence. So my I watched the Trinity oneness, that type of stuff. I am comfortable with the Most High of the Old Testament. He actually came down, and he came down in the flesh and became the Son somehow of himself, right? So I haven't really went into that too deep, researched too much, so I couldn't, win an argument or a debate with that. But that's just my current stance. I heard the Trinity argument. I heard other arguments, Father, Son, and they got good points. But again, they haven't clearly shown me how this is the only way. And my current thought is totally wrong. Okay, because the Trinity, although it makes a little sense, the problem with that is that they got to read it into the Bible. It's not like plain, and not everything I be plain. I understand that, but the fact you got to read it in the Bible and put it together, it's like, I don't know about that. Okay, so watch this. I didn't get my point. My ADD didn't kick in. So remember, he said Gentiles is not a nation, right? Did he say that? Hold on. Let's make sure. I did a whole bunch of talking. Let me go back to that clip. Wait. Damn it, man. Come on. Oh boy. Give me a second. I'm trying to clean up some images and stuff I got. People send me. Oh boy. Okay. I'm about to give up on this in a second. Okay. Boom. Got it. All right. So let's go back. All right. So I am where I'm. Okay. Cool. Watch this. Let me share my screen. All right, check him out. Check him out.
First of all, a Gentile and stranger is not a race of people. You're not going to go into the Bible and see a man named Gentile who had a son, who had a son, who had a son. So when you say these are Gentiles, that's a race of people.
Gentile, not a race of people. One more time.
Gentile is a byword. First of all, a Gentile and stranger is not a race of people. You're not going to go into the Bible and see a man named Gentile who had a son, who had a son, who had a son. So when you say these are Gentiles, that's a race of people. Gentile is a byword. First of all,
let me just go back over here one more time before I go forward.
I will bless her, and she shall be a mother of nations. That's very important because we know Sarah only had one son, Isaac. So that should be one nation. So when it says nations, there's because it's a prophetic nature because the children of Israel would be among, number one, they would call themselves two nations, which I'm going to show you. And then we would be among the nations.
I mean, that was, oh my God, which I do sit on that. That was confusing. And then we'd be among the nations. Wait, the nations were just, originally you said the nations were just two: Israel, house of Israel, house of Judah, HOJ, HOI. And then you said, so like you made Gentile fit them, right? And then at the end of you, I'm thinking you're done. You said, and then you'd be among the nations. Wait a minute. So nations are inclusive of Gentiles, natural Gentiles, and Israelite Gentiles. If you believe that, just make that clear. Like, why we got to piece it up? Because you keep saying that, or you keep implying it, but then we don't want to put words in your mouth. We got to ask you, like, what are you saying, bro? Like, when we read Gentiles, at any time are we reading the Gentile, a mixed multitude? At any time are we reading the Gentiles, natural Gentiles, along with grouped up with Israelite Gentiles? We need to know that. Okay, so now one more again. Let me bring you back one more time. Listen carefully, then we'll go get it.
First of all, a Gentile and stranger is not a race of people. You're not going to go into the Bible and see a man named Gentile who had a son, who had a son, who had a son. So when you say these are Gentiles, that's a race of people.
Cool. Got it.
Gentile is a byword.
Clear. To the Romans. Let's go to, don't waste time. There's a couple places in Romans we can get to. Okay. Let's get to 13. This is Romans, as you can see, Romans 11. Let's magnify verse 13. For I speak to you, Gentiles, inasmuch as I am the apostle of the Gentiles, I magnified my office. Like I magnify these passages, these verses. Okay, remember, Gentiles is not a nation. Okay, so now, Captain, verse 13. Are these Gentiles all the nations in a mixed, melting pot, mixed multitude? Because I heard you guys say these Gentiles were Israelites. And Israelites are a nation. So there's some confusion here. You just said that Gentiles are not a nation. But if I read Romans 11:13, you'll tell me these Gentiles are a nation of Israel. Okay, wait a minute. I'm not done. How about these Gentiles? How about these Gentiles? Matthew's 10 and 5. These 12, Jesus sent forth and commanded them, saying, go not into the way of the Gentiles. Now I heard many Israelites say that these Gentiles were a nation of Israel. So I'm a little confused when you say Gentile, not a nation, but then you'll say that Gentiles are the nation of Israel. Okay? So please help me help you on that one. All right, let me see. What happens if I press this? Nothing. Nation of Israel. Everybody with me? Okay. Everybody with me. All right. So let me go further. Captain, shenanigans.
First of all, a Gentile and stranger is not a race of. First of all, a Gentile. When you say these are Gentiles, heathen, those are things that we just call people as if it's an Israelite or non-Israelite. Example, Romans 9 and 24. Romans 9 and 24. So now if we go with the Christian perspective, they're going to close the book. The Lord calls somebody, not of the Jews only, but also of the Gentiles. So now if we go with the Christian perspective, they're going to close the book. Gentiles could be saved. Now you have to keep reading. Verse 25, Paul says, as it also saith in OC, I will call them my people, which were not my people, and her beloved, which were not my beloved. Why is that important that it says, I will call them my people, which are not my people?
Right now, because you said Gentiles are not a nation singular. They're nations, right? So then you pick and choose when they're actually a singular nation. I guess only when you believe it's speaking about Israel. So just say that. Just say when we believe Gentiles speaking of Israel is singular, right? It's a nation. But when it's speaking of non-Jewish people, natural Gentiles, it's in the plural. Say like be more specific because we gotta question you and get it out of you. All right.
Before I go to Hosea, let's go to 2 Chronicles 15. So you can find all throughout and 3. It says, now for a long season, Israel had been without the true God and without a teaching priest and without the law. So you can find all throughout the scriptures where we were without the Most High.
Yeah, but you can't find the Most High or even yourselves or even the heathens calling you guys Gentiles. The Most High don't call you Gentiles. The angels don't call you Gentiles. The prophets don't call you Gentiles. Your enemies don't call you Gentiles. Satan don't call you Gentiles. And you don't call yourself Gentiles. For those same wicked actions you're saying Israel committed. What I just said, nobody still called you Gentile. They called you by who you were, either northern, southern, or the children of Israel as a whole.
Where the Most High did not call us his people. Let me read it verbatim.
That's why I say, like when people debate these one-ways guys, like they make it too complex, they make it too hard. Like it shouldn't be that hard. Like guys be in a rush to clout chase and debate these guys to get a name, or try to get a name, try to build a bigger church. And when they debate deacon and captain and all these other guys to get a name, it's like, dude, sharpen up first. Like make sure, get battle tested, debate some of their minions first, and see how well you can do against their minions. And like the one thing you don't want to do is leave that debate or exchange with the minions feeling like they won or they're good. That means you're not ready yet. Like you want the minions to feel like they didn't do good and they got to do more studying, or they tell you, hey, I'm gonna get somebody. That's all you heard with us over here with the virgin birth. All we heard was that. I didn't know that. I'm gonna read more. Hey, won't you debate so and so? Like they'll start bringing other people for us, or hey, I only been in the truth for 2 months. Like they start to downplay why they lost and got schooled by them. So that's what I want. I don't want a guy leaving the discussion, the exchange, or the debate feeling like they did good. So that's why I will study until I think I'm studied that much where I can make that happen. I can make them feel like they did not do good. They got to go get more research, or they got to lie and say they've been in the Bible, or as a Hebrew Israelite in the camp for only 4 months. They got to start lying to to not look so bad when it gets me.
In Hosea 1, it says, I'm going to go straight to the meat. Hosea 1 and 10. It says, yet the number of the children of Israel shall be as the sand of the sea, which cannot be measured nor numbered.
Now, this has nothing to do with what they were talking about earlier. He just reading random facts.
And it shall come to pass that in the place where it was said unto them, ye are not my people, there it shall be said unto them, ye are the sons of the living God. So now where was it said in the scriptures, this same exact statement? Now, G-Con and Christians Delight will tell you that Paul is using this as a metaphor, but Paul knew the scriptures well. Remember, Paul sat at the foot of Gamaliel and he didn't play or twist the scriptures. So
that's interesting, because while you try to give Paul credit, Sakari and Genesis, they're trying to overrule or act like Paul ain't know what he was talking about.
When he's reading in Romans 9 and 24, as it say in OC, I will call them my people, which were not my people, and her beloved, which was not my beloved. When he's in Rome, he's talking to the Israelites in Rome. He's not talking to other nations in Rome.
That's a bold, absolute statement. So it's 2:03 a.m. I know I did a lot of talking, which was necessary. Sometimes you don't want to, but it's like necessary to do a lot of talking and not so much playing the video. It's 2 o'clock in the morning. Let me play a little more.
He's only talking to the Israelites in Rome. When you go to Romans, the 11th chapter, Romans 11 and 1 says, I say then, have God cast away his people? God forbid. For I am also an Israelite of the seed of Abraham, of the tribe of Benjamin, given his full out registry, because Paul had Roman citizenship. Remember when they was going to lock him up, Paul said, canst thou speak Greek? And they thought he was an Egyptian. And he said, no, I am a Roman, I'm paraphrasing, a citizen of Tarsus. So your citizenship, so he's a man of another nation.
Nah, you just said he's a citizen. That's different.
But his nationality is Israelite. He just has Roman citizenship. So when you read Romans 11 and 1, he states his registry. When you read verse 26, it says, and so all Israel shall be saved. As it is written, there shall come out of Zion the deliverer.
So that's their stumbling block right there. It says, so all Israel shall be saved. So that's their stumbling block. So now you got to highlight their stumbling blocks. And you want to stay at the stumbling blocks, because they teach a doctrine that the 2/3 will die. 2/3 of Israel will die. Only a remnant, 1/3 of the remnant will be saved. So it's like, all right, bro, make that make sense. Make that make sense. How 2/3 are going to die off? That's the majority. That's majority of Israel going to die off. And then how do we have this statement? All Israel will be saved. How's that possible? Can y'all explain how those two that contradict each other will make sense? So you got to really focus on that stumbling block. Stop trying to be the smartest man in the room, making it hard on yourself. Yeah, y'all heard that. It's easy. Like they give you stuff to crush them. Use it.
And shall turn away the ungodliness of Jacob. When you want to go through the scriptures and cherry pick, the only thing you'll find when it comes to salvation is the term nations, strangers, Gentiles. When you're trying to make other nations be a part of it.
Right. Because those are fitting nouns. Very, very fitting.
The scriptures want to be specific on the salvation is written, there shall come out of Zion the deliverer, and so all Israel.
You got to hold the position, which is a true position, that all Israel is inclusive of Gentiles, natural Gentiles, who took hold of the Most High in Jesus, in the flesh, okay, on earth. Like, they embraced him. Okay, so that's any Gentile. It could be a natural Gentile or what they like to call Israelite Gentiles. There's no such thing, but the Israelites who were scattered and in the four corners and fell off from God. They kept worshiping idols, all this type of foolishness they were doing. Okay, if you want to call them a Gentile, fine. Then again, the word Gentile is all inclusive. It is not exclusive, where Gentile are just Israel. Nobody else included in that. It's just stupid. So that's what I say. It wouldn't matter if you want to include Israel or not. It doesn't matter, because you're still including the other nations, which they say cannot happen. But then they're saying it happened by including them. So what else we got?
Shall be saved. As it is written, there shall come out of Zion the deliverer, and shall turn away the ungodliness of Jacob. When you want to go through the scriptures and cherry pick, the only thing you'll find when it comes to salvation is the term nations, strangers, Gentiles, when you're trying to make other nations be a part of it. When the scriptures want to be specific, who is talking about for Christians that are confused, it'll say Israel.
In the water.
Thank you. It'll say Israel. And I'm gonna give y'all three scriptures real quick. For Christians that on the salvation is written, there shall come out of.
All right, so now let me look at the chat. I'm gonna end it right there. You know what I mean? So let me see if the chat is okay with everything that was presented. If so, yeah, it is. Yeah, if you're the smartest man in the room, then you're in the wrong room. So that was just a snippet. I will try to go earlier tomorrow, but again, my son missed his nap because I was waiting for him to nap at 2:00, so I can do this at 2. But it's kind of my fault, sort of. But he missed his nap, and when he did nap, it was like a little later, and he napped briefly, which is good because he wouldn't be asleep right now. That's just a brief snippet what I'm doing to Captain already, man, and it's gonna get worse. And so, like I said, I already did that regular, and now I gotta do. So I'm doing their debates, and then I'm gonna do their presentation. Now, Captain don't have presentations; he just got debates. So I'm just do all his debate. He got 2 more debates, I think, or 2 or 3 more debates where I'm gonna cover all of his arguments, and then Ariella has a presentation. So I cover his debate. He says some stupid stuff in that debate. So then I'm gonna cover his presentation, and that'll be 2 down. Okay, and who else? I got Mr. Meeks debated Rotson's on, and his argument is gonna be pretty much the same as Sakari, so I ain't gotta research nothing there. look over his stuff. So there's another clown, unknown clown trying to get in the ring. He's scary. And that's it, man. So appreciate y'all. Let me do this right here. In case somebody wanna send your boy a cup of coffee. But yeah, I'm out, man. Appreciate y'all, really do. And like I said, I'll be here probably tomorrow. I don't guarantee, but most likely tomorrow, Monday, finishing up on Captain. So this is a real time. This is a real time recap. So like I'm playing it as I recap it. Right. So basically I'm not like prepared. I'm freestyling based off what I already know and came across. Shalom. We out.